identify yourself?
Do you want me to go first?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
thank you. My name is Richard Womack, and I'm representing myself, and I support House Bill 837. That's the one I'm testifying in support of, and also requesting that we do an immediate vote on that as soon as possible after today's testimony.
Great.
All right. I'll begin. I am a former Air Force mission support officer, and I spent 3 years in Latin America supporting the so-called war on drugs, supporting Air Force counter-drug missions, as well as providing humanitarian relief in support of thousands of Cuban refugees that were scooped from the sea by the Navy and sent to us for temporary housing and shelter. Today I'm strangely a reluctant cannabis activist, but I'm also a disabled veteran and a VA patient with service-connected disability rating of 70% due to depression and PTSD. But mostly I'm here today just as a father trying to stand up for what I believe is right and just. So, as a veteran, I would like to ask, please honor and remember not just our Texas veterans who die and don't come home, but the ones who make it home and are still trying to find their way home and suffering. Nationally, veterans are dying. We've heard the term 22 suicides per day. But when you start thinking about that, we're talking about 154 weekly. We're talking about 660 monthly. The numbers are sinister, and as time goes by, it just gets worse. It adds up. 8,030 annually, an estimated 14,000 between now and the next session. And not all of those are going to be Texas veterans. That's a national number, so it's going to be a portion of Texas. But that'll give you little comfort knowing that you could have helped if you were to maybe try to lessen some of the penalties associated with cannabis use and medicating with it. In Texas, we have 1.6 million veterans, and that generates a lot of uncounted casualties. The Austin American-Statesman did an expose and a series of articles on that subject. And it turns out that 1.6 million veterans will generate a lot of fatal overdoses, a lot of vehicular manslaughters of others and self. And those numbers are staggering, or at least they would be if we were counting them accurately. But that's not being done well, as the expose brought out. The VA healthcare system is a nightmare, and it's a nightmare that's not unlike Stephen King's television series, The Kingdom Hospital. And I say that because, well, not because it turned out that I had the chance to see a portion of the season finale while I was at the VA hospital in Waco, but because after moving to Central Texas and then becoming a regular client and patient at the Central Texas VA, there were problems, and for the first time in about 7 years roughly of using VA services, I went to the patient advocate not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times because of inadequate service and the access to that service. And it didn't help, so I stopped going. And now we have a lawsuit at that facility that has been filed by a family member for similar reasons, and there's she alleges that she went not once, not twice, but 3 times with her husband seeking treatment for her husband for suicide, and he wasn't given assistance, and unfortunately he ended his life. And so that's the testimony that I wanted to offer to you today, and I would just like to wrap by saying that destiny has summoned all of you. It summoned you to find the hero within. And just like us, against our will, you're going to have to find it. And it's a call that you can't refuse without consequence. And so I call upon you, please step up, be the hero, help shepherd the bill to the governor's desk. Even if it means placing your tenure as a lawmaker at risk. Because the history books show us that there are worse labels that can be put on you than not getting reelected. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Questions, members?